Let's pick this thing. Who are y'all picking and why? Truckwreck.com text line 877-881-1053. I asked Green Bay Packer fan Jared Sandler for a preview. You know, I respect Sandler's knowledge about all the sports, probably more than anyone on the station, and he gave me the comprehensive preview. Now, just so you know for your picks, Vegas has this as a 4.5-point spread, and the over-under is 43. Here's Jared. Going into the year, the Packers thought they could compete at a high level by running the ball and scheming to get inferior pass catchers open and a great defense. None of that happened. Started the year with 6 first-round picks on their defense, including the highest-paid corner in the NFL, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and then a couple of non-first-round pick Pro Bowlers. On paper, the defense looked elite. Hasn't happened. Now you got Rashawn Gary hurt, huge loss. Secondary was not as good as they should be. Some people have been frustrated with the scheme that doesn't take advantage of their athleticism, led them to get their asses kicked over the middle. Plainly, the defense has looked pedestrian. The passing game has sucked because they're throwing to no one. Their top pick, Christian Watson, only barely been more productive than Jalen Tolbert. Wow. Romeo Doubs will be good, but was inconsistent and now hurt. Their best receiver, Alan Lazard, is best known for his blocking. Robert Tonyan is average at best. And another player they have, DeGora, I think that's how you say it, looks more like a 7th-round pick than a 3rd. Rodgers is not as sharp as last year. Not willing to say that he's totally lost it, not even a year removed from an unreal MVP performance, but so much of his success trusting in his receivers because they've been so good at improvising, pre-snap reads, clear with his decision-making and hesitancy. It's not on the same page. His accuracy has not been elite like it always has been. The O-line has been a mess. They should be one of the best in the NFL. Bakhtiari has not been the same. Bakhtiari is like their Tyron Smith in every way. Great player, possible Hall of Famer. I think Tyron's probably more of a Hall of Famer, but just banged up, always hurt. And then they have guys that are playing out of position as well. Aaron Jones has been really good, but he can't do everything. A.J. Dillon has not been as good. The backup battering ram running back, much better last year as a two-headed monster. And then you got scheme and play calling issues. Tough to know how much of it is on Aaron or LaFleur, but doesn't seem like they're being as creative as they need to be with their deficiency in talent, especially with the skill position. So there you go. Comprehensive preview from Jared Sandler. What are the 5 things, RJ, that you would like to see? And our Mike McCarthy replay as we're all reunited for Mike's big return to Lambeau at 8:40 this morning.
All right, here we go. Number 1, same level of intensity, like no bye week hangover. That's I cannot stress enough. I was scared going into the bye week. Those final games before the bye, a lot of times you get a team to lay an absolute stinker. They didn't. And I'm hoping that they didn't read their press clippings. Number 2, he doesn't have to get 20, but Pollard more touches. 16, 18 maybe, like somewhere in there.
Bobby Belt seemed like he was saying Zeke was going to play.
Yeah.
As Jerry told y'all Tuesday.
Yeah, I want Zeke to have more plays as well. Fewer rush attempts, but, I want him to get as many touches, right? I want to see him get, a similar amount of touches. Number 3, early lead. I think there's a pressure cooker, the Packers. I think they're ready to burst. And I think you get an early lead on them. They will melt down the sideline. They will have their spirit broke. 4, throw to win. Enough with this run first nonsense. Throw early, throw often. You break their spirit with the pass. You take their soul with the run, Peyton. That's what you do. And then finally get to Rodgers. Don't let him sit in the pocket. This pass rush has been elite to start the year. Since week 5, Sam Williams and Fowler are both top 10 in pressure rate in the NFL. Micah and Tank are not. And that's maybe because Micah's a little bit banged up. They're putting a little bit more added attention, and those other guys are getting these opportunities, and they're making the most of them. And this pass rush is so good. I think you can get to Rodgers. He has tried to play hero ball, and that is not a recipe for success.
And Sam Williams, along with Malik Hooker, are likely to play, according to DallasCowboys.com. After missing the Bears game with a foot injury, Noah Brown should be good to go as well. James Washington probably not going to hit the field this week, but indications are he'll be available in the near future. So that's everything you need to know in terms of making your pick. Give it to us with a prediction at 877-881-1053, truckwreck.com. Text line, I'm going 26-16 Cowboys. I'm not really that worried about this game. It could be worse. The Cowboys could win by even more. Does the spread seem a little too low for you?
It does.
Why is it 4.5?
I don't know. I really don't know. I wonder if they're playing to, they just haven't adjusted for Rodgers yet.
There's two things that Atlantic City was questioning that I heard the other day. One is, football people, they're not understanding the Tampa Bay. Sharks are jumping on Tampa against Seattle Sunday morning in Germany.
It's 3.5, right? I think it's 3.5.
So all the Sharks are betting Tampa, even though Seattle's been the better team. And then this point spread 4.5. Interesting. I got the Cowboys winning by 10. Green Bay averages 17 a game, and I don't see them getting more than that against this defense. Cowboys win.
So I have the Cowboys winning 28-17. I don't see how Green Bay can keep up with this offense if it's rolling, and the Cowboys defense is very, very good. And the Cowboys' pass defense is very, very good. And if they can't pass the football, they ain't going to win this game. Let me read you the point spreads here that the Packers have had and how they haven't adjusted. They're a 4-point favorite against the Lions, 7.5 against the Jets, 9.5 against the Giants, 9.5 against the Patriots. They won by 3. They were only a 1.5 dog to Buffalo. They won by 2. I'm sorry, to Tampa. And then they were a 10.5 point dog to Buffalo. They lost by 10. They haven't really adjusted. Not much. Maybe Buffalo they did a little bit, but for the most part, they've kept it as, man, this is still Aaron Rodgers.
Peyton, what's your pick and why?
So I'm going heavy under on this one, 24-13 at Dallas. It's going to be cold weather. Dak doesn't relatively play great in cold weather, so I think that factors in. And I think what a perfect time to play the Packers. A bunch of injuries coming into this week. Cowboys coming off the bye week. I think that helps, but I think Mike McCarthy gets it done, and Cowboys win by 11.
Sandler sent me a little bit more. Ultimately, the Packers have not gotten stops when they need them. They really labor to move the ball down the field. Very little explosion, where last year it seemed like once a game they had to play a 50 or more yards. They were always a threat to drop a 30 or a 40 play on you. Rodgers does not have that deep threat. Cowboy fans freaking out that you lost Amari doesn't even compare to what happened with Devontae Adams leaving. Best they looked this year was probably against the Bills. Even though it was a loss against arguably the best team in football. But in that game, they finally looked to have some offensive fluidity that was centered around running the football. So that's what's going to be another interesting thing. You did some homework on the Cowboys' run defense. Are they just going to try to run it down our throats with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon? And you're saying the Cowboys' run D is not as bad as we think?
Well, yeah, and I went and I saw this on Twitter. This was sent to us from Atolo, but Mauricio Rodriguez on Twitter posted the NFL ranks of the Cowboys' run defense. DVOA, which is a per-play efficiency, they're 9th. Expected points added per play, they're 10th. And success rate, they're 7th. I don't really know what... there's a few success rates out there. I don't really know which one that he's referencing here. But when I saw that, I was like, huh. Okay. I mean, that's counter to everything I've ever seen, because this run defense is giving up 4.7 yards per carry, which is not good. They're giving up a lot of yards per game, which is not good. They're bottom 3rd in the NFL in both. So, and obviously, there's flaws in everything, and you lack context and everything. But, maybe we've got this in our head that they're a bad unit because the pass defense is so good. It's like when you see an offensive line, you get that one player on the offensive line. Remember, we hammered Doug Free for years. Doug Free was a nice player. Doug Free was just also on the same offensive line with, a couple of Hall of Famers, right? So maybe it was like they look bad because they're standing next to this Adonis of a unit.